We do not need ID verification or nothing.
Mark my words, being anonymous online is coming to an end.
They're gonna start asking for IDs for all these apps because they want surveillance.
Upload a picture of my credit card or my driver's license in order to watch clips of Bob's Burgers.
YouTube and Spotify, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Hello, I'm Kobe, the eldest Gen Z. Welcome back to my channel. On this channel, we like to talk about cultural happenings, things happening in the zeitgeist, and today, let's get into it. In Texas earlier this year, Governor Greg Abbott did sign into law a need for the App Store platforms such as the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store to require ID verification in order to access apps. And because Google is one of the top names listed there, Google has a Play Store. Google is being required to have ID verification for their apps. Google is also the mother of YouTube. You can see how you get from A to B there.
YouTube, you made YouTube Kids. We do not need ID verification or nothing.
How this all came into my attention is because on my algorithm, I've been seeing videos about people talking about their frustration with the potential that a platform like YouTube would require age verification in order to log on to the site and to view content on the site. This month, August 2025, YouTube will roll out its age estimation model in the US to determine if a user is under or over the age of 18, regardless of the birth date tied to their Google account. The model uses AI. Oh, Lord, here we go. The model uses AI and a range of signals, including YouTube activity and account age, to guess a user's actual age. It will also base its decision off of the type of videos a user is searching for and the categories of videos they have watched. Well, my algorithm's going to be real confused because I like to look up cartoon clips, but I also like to watch true crime. Also, there's plenty of adults who don't like to look at explicit or horror content. If the AI decides you're a teen, YouTube will automatically apply content restrictions and digital well-being tools, limit personalized ads, and reduce exposure to problematic content. You'll have the option to verify your age through government ID, selfie, or a credit card if you believe our age estimation model is incorrect. Mom's asleep. Let me go in her purse, whip out her ID. Have you ever heard of something called generative AI? Have you ever heard of something called a fake ID? I'm not really clear on how submitting a picture of a credit card proves age. If you understand that one, let me know in the comments below. Can people get around verification? Age verification laws can be easily circumvented with well-known tools such as VPNs. Questions have also been raised about enforcement, with current sites claiming that efforts would drive traffic to less known sites that don't comply with the law and have fewer safety protocols. Age verification requirements still raise serious privacy and free expression concerns, particularly sensitive information like birth date and biometric data.
At this point, just say you're bio-data farming. Just say that you're data farming.
The real threat here, okay? And that's the selfie option. Oh, what? You think this is gonna be a cute little, like, they're gonna be asking you to put your face inside that oval, right? They're gonna ask you to do a little look to the left, look to the right, look up, look down. Guess what kind of selfie that's called? Biometric data harvesting. And why does Google want your face so badly? Well, because of premium advertising rates, of course. They can charge about 10 times more to advertisers by having verified age plus biometric health data. And right now, their data sets are all poisoned, right? Because with YouTube, when it first came out, everybody was putting in fake birthdays, fake names, fake everything. So your biometric data right now is pure gold to them. Kids aren't going to have the option because they're not going to have a credit card. They're not going to have an ID if they're a kid. They're going to have to scan their face if they want to keep watching. Also, if you read Google's general privacy policy, it was expanded on July 1st to include biometric data. If you think about it, IDs expire, addresses change, and those photos on those IDs are usually very out of date and very low resolution. But once they capture your facial geometry, they can identify you anywhere across the internet, anywhere where there's a security camera, forever. All I'm trying to say is that this data is invaluable.
Hey, so this could easily be used for nefarious reasons. And who is the third-party company that these websites are hiring out in order to verify the identities of its users? And where is that data going? So if we submit this information to you, then what? How long is the appeal process? How is it determined me viewing this content is actually fine? Like, there's still so many questions with this.
Like, why do they need your ID for you to watch a YouTube video? It's because they want to see exactly who is attached to watching any specific YouTube video. Why do you need an ID for music? Exactly. It's probably that mixed in with like podcasts that people listen to. Like, it's just simply for data collecting. They want to have all the information, all the surveillance. They literally want to have an eye on everyone at all times. What exactly everyone is doing, down to everything they're doing on the internet.
Websites and social media companies such as Meta have argued that age verification should be done by the companies that run app stores, such as Apple and Google, and not individual apps or websites. I could see that making sense of having the app store do it. However, the way that you access certain corn websites is through any browser, right? So are you saying that in order to download the Chrome app, I'm going to have to submit my ID? Or to download Safari, I'm going to have to submit a copy of my passport? Although I do prefer the idea of it being the app store over the individual website, it's also not a perfect solution.
And Instagram is the king of updates that nobody wants. Why would Instagram implement such a dangerous update to their app with absolutely no warning on a random Tuesday? I don't know half of the people that I follow on Instagram.
There's some concern as to who is in the background, who is pushing forward these new protocols, and who is paying to want to take these initiatives. Because we know that in the United States, we already know how politics work. The way that the Supreme Court works, we know that when something ekes in, and we open the doors for certain levels of protections or certain levels of restrictions, that then means that the next time the conversation arises about something more serious, and so now there is justification within the law, within previous rulings, to then say, oh, actually, this is how we ended up after 9/11 with overuse and misuse of surveillance on the American public. There was a little bit of fear, a little bit of concern, and so they said, all right, let's take this opportunity. It is the 9/11 attack on American soil that produced a major drift in policy. It was a competition for power, an effort to capitalize on the public's fears. This terrorist attack triggered some of the most regressive initiatives and policies against privacy rights. It is extremely difficult today to capture the sense of indignation and outrage that Americans experienced on September 11, 2001. The immediate reaction, stemming from not only nationalism but fear as well, is to extend as much power as necessary to the government to protect the citizenry from further attack. This is one of the most compelling explanations for the passage of the USA Patriot Act, signed into law by President George W. Bush on October 26, 2001, that would impede the progress made around privacy rights in this nation. The 1978 Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, set the stage for the Patriot Act, which, as an amendment to the FISA, represents a considerable policy drift. The FISA was a reaction to a committee that found widespread practices of illegal spying on Americans. At the same time, however, the committee recognized the importance of the federal government's practice of intelligence gathering when national security issues were at stake. The USA Patriot Act vastly expanded the government's surveillance authority over U.S. citizens at the expense of accountability, privacy, and judicial oversight. And this feels like a door opening, a window eking open. Call it a red herring if you want to. There is a history of political motions moving in this direction, especially given the current climate that we're in, which is overwhelmingly.
There is a senile old man in orange makeup wandering around on the roof on the White House, making weird hand gestures and yelling out, "I finance everything. I pay for everything. It's me who pays."
Do not give these people your ID for the purposes of age verification. There are a plethora of ways in which they could protect the children from being able to access specific content without requiring that you, the user, upload your government issued ID. Now, what this is really about is about you. It's about your data, who you talk to, what you talk about, the sites you visit, the things you buy, your views, your political affiliations. All of that is made easier if they can literally track your browsing activity and link that to your government issued ID. YouTube and Spotify, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The day they start asking for that is the day I stop using the service.
The Supreme Court ruled that states hold the power to prevent minors from seeing such speech or content that is deemed obscene. Writing for the majority in a 6-3 opinion that broke down along ideological lines, as it is wont to do, the three liberal justices, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Justice Elena Kagan, and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson all dissented, a pattern we continue to see. In the appeal, the ACLU argued that, quote, the act requires adults to comply with intrusive age verification measures that mandate the submission of personally identifying information over the internet. This, quote, imposed substantial burdens on adult access to free speech. And as we can see right now of how things are going in the United States, how do I say, the false use of paperwork to bring consequences to people who are actually, their paperwork is perfectly fine. So I just wonder how, if you are required to upload a picture of your driver's license to a website in order to get it off on a Wednesday night, what might happen on Thursday morning? Who might be knocking on Friday? Because that is how these things go. There is a documented history of the misuse of people's information by people in power, i.e., corporations and the government, to bring upon people consequences that may not be justifiable. And I understand we want protections for young people. We want people to be able to use the internet without being exposed to traumatic content. I mean, there's a lot of things happening on a lot of online content platforms, some of which are marketed to children. For example, see Roblox. There's a whole lawsuit going on right now about misuse of the Roblox platform by adults to harm children. See Andrew Tate. See all those problematic dudes online who are targeting young people and getting them into these spirals such as the manosphere.
The term broadly refers to online communities that create and share content aimed at men and boys.
It is so easy to become a top-tier male in the world today because the competition is so ridiculously low.
Misogynistic, often conspiratorial beliefs about gender roles and masculinity.
I understand wanting to protect youth from that. And also, are there other mechanisms? Are there other manners of ways that we could go about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think are the ways that we could potentially circumvent this issue? Where do you think the gray area lies here? Be sure to check out my videos on AI, because I think those will tailor well into this conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the comments. Be sure to subscribe as we see where things go. Bye!